now today we start class with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatajayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Canto first, chapter 8, prayers by Queen Kuntī, shloka number 17 to 19. Brahma teja vinirmuktehi.
ब्रह्म तेज विनिर्मुक्तेहि
आत्मजयी स कृष्णया
आत्मजैः सह कृष्णया
प्रयाण अभिमुखम कृष्णम
प्रयाण अभिमुखम कृष्णम
इदम आह पृथा सती
इदम आह पृथा सती
कुंती उवाच
कुन्ती उवाच
नमस्ते पुरुषं त्वा आद्यम
नमस्ते पुरुषं त्वाद्यम्
ईश्वरं प्रकृतेः परम
ईश्वरं प्रकृतेः परम्
अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानां
अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम्
अन्तः बहिः अवस्थितम्
अन्तः बहिः अवस्थितम्
माया जवनिका आंचन
माया जवनिका आच्छन्
नम अद्य अदोक्षजम अव्ययम
अज्ञ अधोक्षजम् अव्ययम्
न लक्ष्यसे मूढदृशा
न लक्ष्यसे मूढदृशा
नटः नाट्यधर यथा
नटः नाट्यधर यथा
ब्रह्म तेजो विनिर्मुक्तैः
ब्रह्मतेजः विनिर्मुक्तैः
आत्मजयी स कृष्णया
आत्मजयः स कृष्णया
प्रयाण अभिमुखम कृष्णम
प्रयाणाभिमुखं कृष्णम्
इदम आह पृथा सती
इदम् आह पृथा सति
कुंती उवाच नमस्ते पुरुषं त्वा आद्यम
नमस्ते पुरुषं त्वाद्यम्
ईश्वरं प्रकृतेः परम
ईश्वरं प्रकृतेः परम्
अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानां
अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानां
अन्तः बहिः अवस्थितम्
अन्तर्बहिः अवस्थितम्
माया जवनिक आच्छन्नम
माया जवनिका आच्छन्नम्
अज्ञ अदोक्षजम अव्ययम
अदोक्षितम् अव्ययम्
न लक्ष्यसे मूढदृशा
न लक्ष्यसे मूढा दृष्टा
नटः नाट्यधर यथा
नटो नाट्यधरो यथा
ब्रह्मतेज
ब्रह्मतेज
विनिर्मुक्तैः आत्मजैः स कृष्णया प्रयाणाभिमुखं कृष्णम् इदम् आह पृथा सति कुन्ती उवाच नमस्ते पुरुषं त्वाद्यम् ईश्वरं प्रकृतेः परम् अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम् अन्तः बहिः अवस्थितं माया जवनिका आच्छन्नम् अद्यः अदोक्षजम् अव्ययम् न लक्ष्यसे मूढदृशाः नटः नाट्यधरः यथा गौरांगी शक्ति माता जी दिन कृपा सीता देवी माता जी
थैंक यू प्रभु जी ब्रह्म तेजो निर्मुक्ते
1 minute Mataji.
Yes, ma'am.
Mataji, you can read. I'll read later.
ब्रह्म तेजो विनिर्मुक्ते आत्मजा सह कृष्णया प्राणया अभिमुक्तां मुखां कृष्णम् इदम् अहाप्रता सति कुन्ती उवाच नमस्ते पुरुषं त्वाद्यम् ईश्वरं प्रकृते परम् अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम् अन्तर्बहिः अवस्थितं माया जवनिका आचनम् अज्ञा अदोक्षदम् अव्ययम् न लक्ष्यस्य मूढादृष्ट नाटो नट्य अधिरो यथा। थैंक यू प्रभु जी माता जी। धन्यवाद।
विनिर्मुक्तैः आत्मजैः सह कृष्णया प्रयाणाभिमुखं कृष्णम् इदम् आह पृथा सती कुन्ती उवाच नमस्ते पुरुषं त्वादयम् ईश्वरं प्रकृतेः परम् अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम् अन्तर्बहिरवस्थितं मायाजवनिकाच्छन्नम् अज्ञ अधोक्षजम् अव्ययम् न लक्ष्यसे मृडदृशा नटो नाट्यधरो यथा. हरे कृष्ण.
Sridhar Prabhuji, please read.
हरे कृष्ण. ब्रह्म तेजो विनिर्मुक्तैर् आत्मजै है कृष्णयां प्रयाणाभिमुखं कृष्णम् इदम् आह वृथा सती नमस्ते पुरुषं द्वाक्यम् ईश्वरं बृहते परम् अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम् अन्तर्बहि अवस्थितम् मया जवनिका आच्छन्नम् अज्ञातोषजम् अव्ययम् न लक्ष्यै मूढदृश्यो नडो नाट्यधरो यथा. हरे कृष्ण.
नटः नाट्यधरः यथा.
नटः नाट्यधरो यथा. हरे कृष्ण.
धरः. Ashish Prabhuji, please read. Ashish Prabhuji. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, saved from the radiation of the brahmāstra, Kuntī, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and here her 5 sons and Draupadī addressed Lord Kṛṣṇa as he started for home. Srimati Kuntī said, "O Krishna, I offer my obeisance unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor addressed as a player in not recognized. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please, Gaurangi Mataji, please read. Mataji. Kuntī is described here in as Satī.
Kunti is described herein as Sati or chaste due to her unalloyed devotion to Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Her mind will now be expressed in the following prayers for Lord Kṛṣṇa. A chaste devotee of the Lord does not look to others, namely any other living being or demigod, even for deliverance from danger. That was all along the characteristics of whole family of Pandavas. They knew nothing except Krishna, and therefore Lord was also always ready to help them in all respects and in all circumstances. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord. He reciprocates the dependence of the devotee. One should not therefore look for help from imperfect beings or demigods, but one should look for help from Lord Krishna, who is competent to save his devotees. Such a chaste devotee also never asks the Lord for help, but the Lord, out of his own accord, is always anxious to render it. Hare Krishna. Next, Prabhuji. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Although he was playing the part of her nephew, she, as enlightened lady, could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore, she addressed him as original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature. But the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nitya Nityanam Chetnas Chetananam. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara or the controller. The living entities or the demigods like Chandra and Surya are also to some extent Ishvara, but none of them is the supreme Ishvara or the ultimate controller. He is the Parameshvara or the super soul. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. Hare Krishna.
In the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me, continue.
And only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas, I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all the living beings, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwathama's brahmāstra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Krishna is all pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It is explained as follows.
In the Bhagavad Gita,
Lord Krishna affirms that less intelligent person mistakes him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. The same is confirmed herein by Queen Kunti. The less intelligent persons are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as asuras. The asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. When the Lord himself appears amongst us as Rama, Narsiha, Varaha, or in his original form as Krishna, he performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible. As we shall find in the 10th canto of this great literature, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa exhibited his humanly impossible activities even from the days of his lying on the lap of his mother. He killed the Putana witch, although she smeared her breast with poison just to kill the Lord. The Lord sucked her breast like a natural baby, and he sucked out her very life also. Similarly, he lifted the Govardhana hill, just as a boy picks up a frog's umbrella, and stood several days continuously just to give protection to the residents of Vrindavana. These are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures. The last line is not visible to me.
Like the
and
Puranas,
stood several
Itihas,
days
Smriti, and
continuously just
Upanishads.
to give protection to the resident of Vrindavan. Now, these are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures like the Purana, Itihasas, histories, and Upanishads. He has delivered a wonderful instruction in the shape of the Bhagavad Gita. He has shown marvelous capacity as a hero, as a householder, as a teacher, and a renouncer. He is accepted as the supreme personality of Godhead by such authoritative personalities as Vyas, Deval, Asit, Narad, Madhva, Shankara, Ramanuja, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ji Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and all other authorities of the land. He himself has declared as much in many places of authentic literature, and yet there is a class of men with demonic mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which result from various misdeeds in the past and present. Such persons could not recognize Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa even when he is present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientists. They want to know everything by their experimental knowledge, but it is not possible to know the Supreme Person by imperfect experimental knowledge. He is described herein as adokshaj, or beyond the range of experimental knowledge. All our senses are imperfect. We claim to observe everything and anything, but we must admit that we can observe things under certain material conditions only, which are also beyond our control. The Lord is beyond the observation of sense perception. When Kunti accept this deficiency of the conditioned soul, especially of the women class who are less intelligent. For less intelligent men, there must be such things as temples, mosques, or churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about him from authorities in such holy places. For less intelligent men, this beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men decry the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the mass of people. For less intelligent person, bowing down before the authority of the Lord, as generally done in the temples, mosques, or churches, is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Te Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhecha Krupa Sindhube Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. We continuing this chapter, shloka number 17, 18, and 9. Here, what Kunti said, Kunti's prayers are describing from shloka number 18. So, Prabhuji will tell in detail. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we are seeing that the Pandavas were saved from the radiation of the brahmāstra, and these shlokas that we are talking about, it's making us understand about how the Pandavas were devoted to Krishna and how they were always surrendered. Krishna protected them, and then we are going to understand 4 qualities of Krishna. First, that he is the original personality who is unaffected by material world. Second, he is existing both within and without everything, so invisible to all. Third, he is beyond the range of limited sense perception. And fourth, he is eternally irreproachable, covered by the curtain of deluding energy. So let us start with Kunti Maharani, who is addressed here as a chaste lady or a satī. And the reason why it is mentioned here is because of her unalloyed devotion to Krishna. In fact, the whole Pandava family was completely surrendered to Krishna. And we'll need to understand from here that as a chaste devotee, we should not look to others for any kind of deliverance from danger. No other living being, nor even demigods. We should be knowing nothing except Krishna. The moment we reach to that level, Lord is also always eager to help us in all respects, all circumstances. This is the transcendental nature of Krishna, because he reciprocates the dependence of the devotees. So we should not look at help from any imperfect persons, but only from Krishna, who is competent to save the devotees. And even being a devotee, even when it comes to us, we should not ask help from Krishna also, because Krishna himself is going to be anxious to give it. So this is an important practical learning that we need to know. So when we go to temple, we start praying, but instead of praying, what we are doing is we are asking, we are begging. So this is what we start learning here. And this chapter, the prayers of Kuntī Maharani, is a very, very important chapter that we are going to be understanding. So after this first understanding, let us now understand about the qualities of Krishna. So Krishna is original Purush, Anadiradir Govinda, and he is Sarva Karana Karanam. So he is beyond the material cosmos. So he is also addressed as Achyuta because he never falls down. While we living beings tend to fall down under the clutches of material nature. And Krishna is therefore also known as Nityo Nityanam Chetanaha Chetananam. Now, every one of us learns to have some kind of a control. So, Ishvara. But Krishna is the actual Ishvara. He is the supreme Ishvara. He is the ultimate controller. And that is why he is called as Parameshwar or the super soul. Third aspect, he is both within and without. Like in case of this episode, we see that Krishna was present in front of everyone, including Srimati Kuntī Maharani. But he was also within her and everyone else. And in fact, they all knew that he was the one who entered the womb of Uttara and protected the embryo from attack of the brahmāstra. So they have personally experienced the within and without of Krishna. While Krishna already had told this to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya cha mudri sannivishto matasmruti dhyanam apohanam cha vaideha cha sarveraham vedyo vedanta krutvid vedeva cha ham. So he had already said that I am seated in everyone's heart, and from him comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness. So Krishna reserves the right whether he should be exposed to those who are not surrendered or not. And that curtain which prevents him being seen is the Maya. That prevents us from seeing Krishna. The least intelligent persons who rebel against the authority of Krishna, they are actually known as asuras. They cannot recognize Krishna's authority. While Krishna, even when he came as an avatari, has exhibited humanly impossible activities. Like when he was even in the lap of mother, he killed Putna as a baby. He lifted Govardhan Hill as a boy, picking up a frog's umbrella. And not only picked up, he stayed with it on the tip of his left little finger for 7 days and 7 nights. He has delivered instructions in the shape of Bhagavad Gita. And he is accepted as Supreme Personality by authoritative personalities Vyas, Deval, Asit, Narad, Madhva, Shankara, Ramanuj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But still, we find some people with demoniac mentality who are reluctant to accept Krishna. This is because of their poor fund of knowledge and also obstinacy. And that is because of the Purva Karma of the previous birth. So we need to understand that Krishna is there for us. He was there, he is there, and he will always be there to protect his devotees. Another difficulty is because of the imperfect senses, we cannot realize Krishna. Just like the modern scientists, they want to do all kinds of experiments. But Krishna is beyond experimental knowledge. He is adhokshacha, beyond the range of the senses. And the senses are imperfect. We know it. We know the story of the 6 blind persons who wanted to understand what an elephant looks like. So someone touched the trunk, someone touched the leg, someone touched the his tusks, someone touched his tail, and everyone thought of the elephant as something different. But factually, elephant was an elephant. So Kuntī Maharani accepts the deficiencies of the conditioned souls. She understands, and through her, we need to understand as well. That yes, we are imperfect, we are less intelligent, we don't know what Krishna actually is. So when it comes to say temples or places of worship, It is actually the beginning of our spiritual life. So the moment we go there, our standard of spiritual attributes increases. So bowing down before the authority of the Lord is as beneficial for anyone as it is for advanced devotees to meditate upon. So this word Maya Javanika Achanam is very, very important. That the delusion, the Maya, the curtain, that is Javanika, and Achanam, that is covered by. So Krishna is covered by this curtain of deluding energy. So we have to look beyond that range. He is beyond this material acceptance, adokshajam. And he is avyayam, irreproachable. And how do we get that vision? How do we know this? Just like Arjuna. Arjuna was fully surrendered. He accepted him as Guru and he was following all his instructions. And Krishna gave him the vision to see his Virat Roop as well as his Chatubhuj Roop as well as his original Swarup. So similarly, if you want to know Krishna, we have to surrender to Krishna, follow his instructions. And what are his instructions? Very simple. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. First instruction, give up all kinds of religions and surrender only to me. And then, manmanabhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Go before him, pray to him, worship him. That's all. The moment we do it, Krishna is going to be satisfied. So how do we practically achieve all these in Kali Yuga? Herein. Because in Kali Yuga, it's only the pure chanting of the transcendental holy names of the Lord which can give us that particular desire and strength to understand Krishna, to actually follow these instructions of Krishna. So the journey starts with this Shravanam followed by Kirtanam. Satatam Kirtayantam is what we have to achieve. The day we are going to be continuously engaged in chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, all our inadequacies will be looked over by Krishna. He'll himself, Swayameva Spurteva Adaha. He'll himself reveal it to us. And then we'll be in a position to purify ourselves more and more and become suitable enough to be taken by Krishna back home. So let us continue our chanting, let us continue our association, let us continue our reading of the scriptures, let us ensure that we take only Krishna Prasadam for our diet. Let us try to do some kind of a deity worship, try to be engaged in worship to devotees, to Guru, and to the deities. And the magic will start. Cheto Darpana Marjana. The heart will be completely cleansed of all the impurities and we'll start feeling the bliss which is very, very required in our life. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.